Wondering how you could make your financial life simpler, easier, and maybe get it on autopilot?
Mm.
Well, today we're doing a segment called Quick Financial Tips from Your Colleagues. And I have a very, very special guest with me here today, one of our very beloved clients, Dr. Brian Clyne. Welcome, Dr. Clyne.
Thank you so much, Catherine. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. And welcome back to all our listeners to more Money Minutes for Doctors. I'm your host, Katherine Vessenes. I'm the CEO and founder of MD Financial Advisors. So before we get started, if you've got any other questions, please reach out to us at info@mdfinancialadvisors.com. And Brian, before we get into your quick tips, our friends at the SEC have certain things they want me to ask you. So they want to know if I paid you anything of material or even a small amount of money to get you to record this podcast today.
No, you didn't.
I didn't pay you anything. You didn't pay me anything.
That's
I just
correct.
appreciate you doing this as kind of a public service to your fellow colleagues.
Well, thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you. So with that, give us a little bit of background. I know you've been in emergency med. I think has it been really 25 years because you don't look like you've been doing this for 25 years.
Oh, you're too
Tell-
kind. Yes, I've been practicing emergency medicine for 25 years after residency now, and my practice is in an academic environment, so been very involved in medical education and career development and some research. Yeah.
And that's good because we're going to be talking a lot about tips for younger doctors today, and you deal with them every day in your
Mhm.
work. And I just want to mention we've been working together. I don't know if you realize this. It's been 8 years since 2017, which I think is that I know seems
No,
like a
that's
long time.
amazing. Well,
I know it is.
you haven't aged a bit either, so
I love that about you so much. All right, so tell us, do you have? I'm looking for too many tips that you can give younger doctors.
okay. So I would say for the newly graduated, someone who's just fresh out of residency or fellowship and starting their professional career, um, if you don't have a background or expertise in finance or have a loved one who is, in that space and deeply committed to helping you, then I think getting professional help is really important. So realize that it's gonna cost, but good advice early on in your career is gonna be really really valuable. So I think there's a notion of I mean, physicians value autonomy more than anything else, and there's this notion of like kind of being fiercely independent and sometimes I won't say all. I'll make a sweeping generalization. I think some physicians think that they're because of their knowledge in one realm, it kind of transfers to another. But it's also pretty well known that in general, physicians aren't great with finances. So I guess my first tip would be seek out professional financial advising help, and the second would be to start early and really maximize to the, depending on the level of debt that you have. I mean, that's something a financial advisor can also help you work through, is working to maximize the early inputs for your retirement. And this is something that I learned from you that I know you preach a lot about, is to the extent possible, put things in the quote unquote tax-free bucket, or
Yes.
yeah. So all things that I feel like are not particularly profound. um, but yeah, and then I guess one thing that I've seen happen a few times is, there's a lot of delayed gratification in healthcare. You do this kind of prolonged subjugation training, you get paid like, and then you come out and you're like, yeah, I'm going to buy that Jeep. I'm going to buy that. And
Right.
because I deserve it, darn it. So if you can hold off on any of those big kind of sort of reward purchases, I guess, that, I've seen people kind of turn upside down pretty quickly for the big house and the big car,
Right.
because they feel like, oh, I've arrived, and suddenly, they're kind of, they're working to pay their bills as opposed to
They're
saving.
house poor. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I guess that's, yeah. You know the terms better than I. Yeah.
I just have to comment on some of those things. I so agree. I think one of the issues with doctors, you were always the smartest kid in the classroom, right? And so you kind of grew up thinking, well, I can handle this financial stuff. And
Yeah.
I think that mindset actually hurts doctors a lot because they don't know what they don't know. And
Mm.
just I have actually seen doctors, I can remember this one case in particular. they had done such a poor job of kind of managing their finances. I estimated they were going to spend $2 million in additional taxes in retirement that they wouldn't have had to do if they had planned better.
Yeah.
And that to me was horrifying, thinking about $2 million in extra taxes. What would you do if you'd had that money? You could retire early. There's all sorts of things you could do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I totally agree with you that the time to get that big house and whatever new car it is, when we first started and working in Rhode Island, everybody wanted BMWs when they graduated, and then it moved on to Teslas. And I'm not quite sure. I know Teslas are kind of out now. I'm not, I don't know whatever
Yeah,
the
I wonder
new
why.
car could be Jeeps. You could put that off, rent for a couple years, or basically, I say the first couple years after training, live like a resident.
Yeah.
Get those credit card bills paid off, get your emergency fund set up, start saving. And if you
Yeah.
can live your entire career at less than what you make, you're going to be in great shape.
Yeah. And I came out of residency with a pretty substantial amount of debt for the time and the
Mhm.
age. I mean, this is this is 25, 26 years ago, and I had close to $200,000 in debt. And like today, it's probably for, a lot of people are coming out with 350,
Oh,
400.
easy or
And it's
more.
and you look at that number and you think like, how am I ever gonna chip away at that? Like, how is that even possible given, all the and but again, it speaks to this idea of, establishing a long-term plan and just like the small things over time, just they make a huge difference. So it's daunting, and sometimes people are like, well, I owe just so much already. I might as well just keep, digging a deeper hole. But that I guess that's one piece of advice to avoid.
Yes, definitely. All right. Do you have two things that you're doing that are making your financial life maybe easier, simpler, or less stressful?
Yes, we are automating and maximizing all of our, pre-tax things so we don't even miss them. So, um, you know, the organization I work for has over time had a, pretty generous retirement benefit, and we've taken advantage of that, and maximize it. And I think if you have the opportunity to, maximize whatever the benefits plan allows for,
Mhm.
to do that. Um, I mean, one of the things that I'm doing is like the two things we spend money on are, education and experiences. Like I think so. There's a weird way of saying like, spend your money where your values are. The and this is maybe just my personal philosophy, or maybe I'm imposing some value judgments on your listeners, but uh, you know, buying having the fanciest clothes, or that watch, or that's probably going to have a short term, dopamine hit for you,
Mhm.
but investing in either your children or partner or family's education, I think is going to yield longer term benefits. So I guess maybe the broad theme there is like thinking long term. The experiences that you have with your family or your partner are going to have more of an impact than the shiny new thing that, maybe costs a lot of money and maybe is cool for a day. But investing in things that are going to have longer term impact. I can't. I don't think I'm clumsy around that. Like,
No, no, think so. Let me respond to that. I think you said two very, very important things. One is getting your savings plan on automatic pilot.
yeah,
Because in most clients, if I can get them to save, it doesn't even matter. Is it 1,000 a month? Is it 10,000 for some clients, right? We just automatically it goes out every month. They don't miss it. They learn to live on what's left over, and they never have to worry about savings because it's on automatic pilot. And you're doing that to your comments about maximizing your work plans. I totally agree with that.
yeah.
I read some study a while back that said that people actually value those experiences more than they do the material objects, which I
Mm,
think gets exactly to your point.
yeah.
And one of the things I try to do with clients is what are your big goals? Because yes, most doctors make a lot of money, but it is not an unlimited amount of money, right? We don't have any doctors that can spend absolutely everything, right? They cannot live like Jeff Bezos, let's be frank.
Yeah.
So I had a case recently where this lovely, lovely doctor is thinking about buying a particular thing that she thought might be helpful for her grown daughters. And I'm like, okay, you could do that. But you told me your highest priorities were making sure you had money to retire and that you got out of debt. And how does this line up with those top two goals? And she was like completely shocked. It was like, no, this doesn't line up at all.
Mm.
So to your point, I think it's very important to think through what are our top two or three goals. In your case, it's educating your daughters, it's having those great experiences. And then it was easier for you to go, no, we don't need the shiny object because it doesn't fit in with our top two goals.
Yeah, exactly. I think, cars are a great example. Like we don't drive expensive, fancy cars. But I mentioned my own personal experience with educational debt, and
Yeah.
it was a priority for my wife and I to not have that happen with our kids. And we're still working through that. We have one
Yes.
in college now,
Yeah.
one out of college, but like to the extent we can, have them, start life with a little bit of a cleaner slate, then we wanted to
Yeah.
do that. So that was an important value. But we underestimated the punishing level of tuition. I,
Oh my gosh.
um, so I'm not sure we could have ever, with all the discipline in the world, saved for what ended
Yeah.
up being the kind of tuitions we're staring down.
Yeah.
But
I just did a plan this morning for a client. She wanted to do 90,000 a year.
wow,
Oh, I know. I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
yeah,
But that's just for some clients, it's very important. If it is great, we can save for that. If it's not, then we should be looking at putting those funds elsewhere. So my last question, is there anything you wish you'd done differently?
you know, my wife and I, when we first moved to the city that we live in, we learned that it was great for so many reasons, but the public school system wasn't performing well. And
Right.
so we very early on kind of got into this, like we kind of got into this flow of or this experience with independent schools, and then it was hard to get out of that experience. And anyway, the short answer is if I were to do anything differently, as much as I value the importance of education, and there were some points during the last 20 years where it probably didn't make a ton of sense to be putting that kind of money into fourth grade and high school and these
Right.
independent schools. Um, and and so what does that mean? Would probably would have had to rethink where we lived. And so there's a lot of things to consider, but I guess I would spend a little more time thinking about the education system in my town, and whether the public system is going to serve your kids as well. So I was
Yeah, I
yeah,
totally agree with you. Sometimes it costs more to live in those neighborhoods where they've got a really good public system,
yeah,
but I think that can still be cheaper than actually paying for private school, particularly if you've got two or three kids.
exactly. Yeah. So that's something that we thought a lot about, and we never really, you know, got enough momentum to make a significant change, but that probably could have made a difference. And if I was a real pragmatist, and I would have it would have been a clear, like, okay, like we're gonna live in this town, we're gonna buy this kind of house, and this is a school
Mhm.
system. But we kind of got it just kind of it ran away from us, and so so I don't know if it's like a regret, but it's something that I'm very aware of, that we've probably overspent over time. And I think I wanted to make a point before, like about physicians, and where we sort of the strata that we occupy in the wealth sphere of the U.S. Like you're right, like v- very few physicians have like the kind of money that nothing matters, and you
Right.
you can pay the $500,000 tuition for a private college with one swoop of a check, and very few physicians are on the stratum where they're going to get like full financial aid. The majority of us occupy that sweet spot for colleges and universities where you're like a full freight family, and
Yes.
and like for fair or not fair, like I think that's something that a lot of physicians maybe don't recognize, or it's just something that they have to reconcile. But just thinking more about education, like there's a good chance that a lot of your clients are going to be just you know full frontal paying the maximum, and it's just the runaway cost of education these days. It's hard to imagine what it's going to look like in 20 years.
Yeah, it's pretty appalling. sometimes I've done college plans for that brand new baby. And honestly, when you start adding that inflation factor that's higher than regular inflation,
Yeah.
it's not unusual to think they may need $1 million if their goal is they don't have any debt.
Right. Right.
So I think there's just different ways we have to think about this. Is that really a good goal? Are there some things they can do to get some merit-based aid? There's different ways to skin that cat.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I love that you only have one thing that you slightly wish that you had done differently. I could do a whole podcast on all the things, which is part of the reason I'm in this field. Is I don't want our
Well,
clients making some of the mistakes I did.
well, you talked about you don't know what you don't know. I'm in that space right now, so
Exactly.
there's probably so many things I should have said that I'm not even aware of.
No, I'm so grateful, Brian, you spent the time with us today, and I hope our listeners really, I know they're going to enjoy getting all this great information from you. Thank you.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Katherine.
And then in closing here today, remember, if you have any other questions, you can email us at info@mdfinancialadvisors.com. And remember, only you can take care of you. So plan, protect, and prosper.
These statements are from a current client and may not be representative of the experience of other clients and do not guarantee future performance or success. The client has not been indirectly or directly compensated for this interview. MD Financial Advisors is not aware of any material conflicts of interest between this client and the firm. Additional information, including management fees and expenses, is provided on our Form ADV Part 2, available upon request, or at the SEC's Investment Advisor Public Disclosure website. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Feel free to reach out to us at info@mdfinancialadvisors.com or visit our website at mdfinancialadvisors.com.